just don't want to waste the time of the people that did show up. So me, I'm Matt Aaronworth. I'm the superintendent for the district, and I always love to come here and tell parents that this is my absolute favorite part of every month. Usually I'm dealing with people that are short still angry, things that are going on, sometimes really happy things, really instructional parts. But tonight I get to come and I get to be with the students that are receiving these awards.
Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Typically, we do the Pledge of Allegiance at this time, so. Laura, will you lead us off? Yes, thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm asking for a vote to move school committee reorganization from new business to the next item on our agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion moved and seconded. All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you. So now we'll go to the school committee reorganization. Per our policy adopted on July 21, 2010, for the purpose of reorganizing the school committee at its first regular meeting, will conduct district elections, annual elections, which will elect from its membership a chairperson, a vice chairperson, a secretary, all of whom will hold their respective offices for a term of 1 year or until a successor is elected. A majority of the members of the school committee will constitute a quorum, and we have a quorum here this evening. The election will proceed as follows. First elections will be nominations of the office of the chairperson will be made from the floor. Is there a nomination for chairperson?
I'd like to nominate Lee as chairperson.
Thank you. We have a vote for Lee. Are there any other nominations for chairperson?
I'd like to nominate
Lee? You have that? Perfect. Okay, so we have a vote for Bobby and for Lee. Oh, sorry. Bobby? Say that again?
Frank.
For Frank? Okay. Okay. All right, so from here on, it will be a roll call vote for the members present and voting. If no nominee receives a majority vote, the election will be declared null and void and nominations will be reopened. First nominated was Lee. All those in favor of Lee?
I always feel dumb when I slack.
5, 6. 6? Yeah. Cute. And all those for Bobby? Cute. And all those for Frank? Excellent. Excellent. So we will move to nominate Lee as our chairperson for the school committee. And him and I will switch places, and he will go through the nomination for the upcoming vice chair. Is this mine?
Congratulations.
I'm old, so it takes me a minute.
Sorry, my purse is.
I was going to say, you want me?
You look like it.
Yeah, I don't, it's not my color. All right. First and foremost, thank you. You know, it's been a while, but you know, I'm appreciative of this by all means. And first and foremost, just before we move on to the next vote, I do want everybody to rest assured that I'm going to do my utmost best to help move the district forward. You know, and there's no animosity at this table as far as I'm concerned for anybody. It's a fresh start and we move forward, okay? So nominations from the floor for vice chair. Laura.
I nominate Tammy Duquette.
Any other nominations? Seeing none. We can vote on Tammy, even though she's unanimously elected. All in favor of Tammy? Thank you. All right. So Tammy will be the vice chair. And traditionally, in the school district, the office of secretary is held by the superintendent. So,
Well, actually, we had conversation about that.
Okay.
Correct, Russ? We had discussed that Jody actually
Okay.
does serve in that capacity, and we
Okay.
checked with council, and she is able to be appointed
Okay.
as the secretary.
that's fine. Is there, yes, Tammy?
Motion for Jody to be the secretary of the school board. Second.
I'm not gonna allow her any discussion, so. All those,
I'm not going to allow for any discussions.
all those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jody.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's built in.
That's true.
Next up, the approval of minutes for March 19th. Is there a motion?
I'll move them.
And a second. Okay. Motion made and second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All right. Public input. Eric, was there any? I think it's on the other side. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Student representative, we do not have one this evening? Okay. Earlier, before this meeting, there were recognitions, student recognitions. Athol High School, Dylan Warnham and Caitlin Rossi, Arms, Bentley Irene, and Alicia Cuves Velez. Aces, Jacob Butler and Dante Morneau, and RCS, Beverly Matson and Elliot Narwitz.
Congratulations to all.
Yep, thank you. Under unfinished business this evening, there is none. So what we would do is move right into the budget public hearing. You do have the public hearing documents, your budget presentation. That is the most recent version in your packet. So we'll turn it over to Matt and Nancy.
And Matt will rapidly turn it right over
Yes.
to Nancy.
And it's actually called to order at 6:10, just for the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, good to go.
Great.
All right, so up on the slide, I have the budget public hearing document. So at the last school committee meeting, I did a brief overview of where we stood at that point in time. So the first slide I'm gonna bring you to is the changes that have been made since then. The total changes comes to $150,751. It's an assortment of adding in 2 paraprofessional positions, BCBA district-wide, some professional development expenses, some special education expenses, and some software. And then it was made up with some revenue adjustments between Medicaid, interest, school choice, and a grant, the ECA-ECG grant, which came to $150,751, and it did not affect the assessments. It was just revenue that we were able to adjust within. So the next slide goes over our full budget request. So our full budget request is $38,083,857. And this slide can show you how it's broken out amongst the main categories in the budget. So you got your administration, your teaching, your student services, operation, your fixed charges, capital debt, and your out-of-district tuitions. Yes?
Excuse me. Could we just move your mic over so that the
Oh,
listening can hear you? Thank you, sorry.
yeah, thank you. Okay. So then the key budget drivers. So the key budget drivers for next year, the number one is special education. Our transportation costs are extremely high between foster care education, foster care transportation, and the McKinney-Vento transportation, and services for our kiddos in special education, just rising, keeps rising. Speech and language, occupational therapy, we need additional paraprofessionals. They're all of those contribute to the additional costs that we're seeing in this year's budget, and we added them into next year's budget. We had a key budget driver with salaries. We added in the elementary school dean at ACS, ACES and RCS. Miscellaneous duties and stipends in summer school programs were added in. They weren't put in the FY25 budget, but they're put in the FY26 budget. But they're funded.
Can I just pause you for 1 second?
Yes.
To clarify, Nancy mentioned the split elementary dean. This year, that position was funded through school choice as requested. So now Nancy is explaining that position was taken out of school choice as it's not a general revenue fund. And so we put that into the general fund this year.
And it still will be split?
It is still the same position split.
Yeah. And it also
includes the increases to the ATA, which is the 2.5% in lane changes, and any non-unit increases that are negotiated. Our health insurance costs have risen substantially. I've mentioned this in a prior meeting. Combined with the 19.97 increase that we've had, we've also had a shift to a 70-30 participation structure. So those two combined have been a significant hit for our employees. So that's another part of that. The next slide is our low income grouping. As we mentioned in prior meetings, our low income grouping, we were at 11 last year. We dropped to 10 we were at 11 this year. We dropped to 10 for fiscal year 26. That's a loss of $956,647. At the last meeting, I mentioned that there was a possibility that we might be able to find the additional 17 kiddos, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we're hopeful for next year, and we're gonna keep plugging along and hope we get there. The assessments. This breaks out the assessments for the town of Athol and the town of Royalston. And so you have your required minimum contributions that is set by the state and each town has to pay. Then you have our debt expense, that's from the high school. And then we have our transportation expense broken out for each. And this page totals them. So the total assessment for Athol projected for fiscal year 26 is $5,603,530, which is a 3.8% increase since 25. The Royalston assessment is $805,482, which is a 6.33% increase since fiscal year 25. Our Chapter 70, we put in at $25,520,562, which is a 3.5% increase. And I just got it, yep. You sure?
I am gonna cut you off in a sec.
Okay, that's fine. I think I was just gonna add in there that I just got an email walking in here from the Health, Ways and Means. They met today, and Chapter 70 stayed the same. So there'll be no adjustments with that.
So the one thing that I did want to point out for those watching at home and anyone in the audience that wasn't here previously, if you flip back and forth a little between page 6 and 7, right? Page 6 has your minimum local contributions that are listed there from the towns. And page 7 shows you the change from the FY25 to FY26 budget. I'd like to point out the change in Athol's minimum local contribution was $215,996, and their assessment only went up $205,032. So the district is doing everything and more that it can to absorb costs. I will say, I've discussed it with the budget subcommittee, particularly in the area of transportation. Our transportation costs have gotten extremely high, and we ate a small portion of it. I shouldn't say a small portion of it. We've eaten some of those costs so that we could make the assessment for the towns palatable. So otherwise, the assessment increase might be 7, 8%, maybe even higher. Similarly, you can check the Royalston numbers. Again, you can see that their minimum local contribution went up $50,000, and their change is $47,954. So I just want to point that out for the communities.
Thank you. And then the regional school transportation, we projected $903,156,000, which is a 16.66% increase. And that was very close to what the Health, Ways and Means came back with. And the charter tuition reimbursement, we put in $53,845,000, which is actually a drop for us and will remain a drop for next year at 55%. So overall, with all our funding, it comes
to a 3.18% increase. In our revenue sources that are allocated to the budget from our own funds come to 1.9 million, which I'll go through right here. So everything in yellow on this slide are revenue sources that are allocated to the budget. And then anything that's not in yellow are our grants. So I'll go over them individually. So for athletic revolving, we allocated $35,000 to the budget. For food service, we allocated $100,000 to the budget. Excess and deficiency, we allocated $50,000 to the budget. Last year we did $450,000, so that was a big difference. School choice, $331,015. Out of district revenue, $100,000. And then you'll see the grants. You have your Title I grant, Title IIA, and Title IV. Those are all pretty much in line. I kept them a little bit, small differences from last year. Circuit breaker put in at the maximum at $1,417,000. Rural aid, we put in at $558,598. And then you got your entitlement grants. So the 240 entitlement grant, $510,000, 262 grant, $12,500, and your tag grant, which is $105,500. Then you have your early college grants for $77,500. Your ICP grant, I can't see it from here. Sorry. $36,000. Your IAG grant for $350,000. Interest income for $30,000, and your Medicaid for $300,906. We have a small open SciEd grant for the middle school, $11,665, and our chronic absence for $300,000. And the last thing we're doing is from our 240 grant for this fiscal year, we're rolling over $400,000 to be used towards next year's budget.
You scared me for a second. It's 3,000, not 300,000.
I said 300?
Yeah, just
For the
accidentally.
chronic? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, 3,000, thank you.
Jamie, can you
Yes.
see with my head here? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought about that, and I'm like, oh,
I'd be more worried about
And that's why I need my glasses, and I can't read from up there.
oh, okay.
No, yeah. I could read one side, and then when I got to the other.
Yeah, I'm done for.
So the total amount that we're requesting for the school committee to approve tonight for the budget is $34,792,094. And then,
To be clear,
yeah,
I just want to be clear for the community and everyone. That's just the general fund portion of the budget. So
Right.
as Nancy just went through the various revenues that we have and all of the expenses, we try to be as transparent as possible. We show every expense that we have and we show every revenue that we have. But the actual only source of revenues that the school committee vote on are the general fund. And so that's where you see the difference in the number of the total budget, where we're in the 38 million to really the 34 million, which is our general fund budget, so. I do believe we have to vote to approve, whenever you're ready.
yep,
We need to approve tonight the general fund budget number, and then we need to approve the individual assessment numbers for each of the towns.
that's my presentation. The rest is just miscellaneous, the appendix, unless you guys want to go through it. I think we kind of went through it at the last meeting, but if anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Through the miracle of television, I have the motions that we need, so I would be looking for a motion that the Athol-Royalston Regional School District School Committee vote to approve the FY '26 budget in the amount of $34,792,094. Is there a motion? Okay, is there a second? Okay, made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Next one, I'd look for a motion that the Athol-Royalston Regional School District Committee vote to approve the Town of Athol assessments as follows. Transportation assessment, $1,189,280. Debt assessment, $163,970. Required minimum contribution of $4,250,280, with the total Town of Athol assessment being $5,603,530. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Okay, all right. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Okay, the next one, looking for a motion to that the Athol-Royalston Regional School District School Committee vote to approve the Town of Royalston's assessment as follows. Transportation assessment, $69,549. Debt assessment, $7,655. Required minimum contribution, $728,279. Total Town of Royalston assessment, $805,483. Is there a motion?
So move. Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And finally, look for a motion that the Athol-Royalston Regional School District School Committee vote to approve the use of $50,000 of certified excess and deficiency funds from the excess and deficiency account as a funding source for the FY26 budget.
So move.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a budget. I'm happy to say we can run the schools next year.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment, Nancy. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really good. Thank you very, appreciate it.
So moving down the list to memorandum of agreement between the district and the Athol Teachers Association. This one would be for the school nurse hours. I believe you have a copy of that in your packet. I'm just waiting for the sidebar.
You want me to make a motion to approve?
Sure, yes.
Motion to approve is presented.
Is there a second? Okay, and discussion? This has to do with, for the public, has to do with work hours for school nurse here at Arms.
Are they trying to end the workday later for a reason? Like, is there after-school activities or something they're trying to cover?
Matt, did you hear Christie's question?
No, I apologize. I
Okay.
was speaking to Russ about something
Okay.
on the MOA momentarily.
Okay,
I did not, Chrissy, I'm sorry.
I was just questioning, because 3 of the days out of the week, they want to extend her workday 30 minutes later than what it normally would have been. Is that to cover like after-school activities or something like that? What was the?
So this is because our nurse has some family obligations that she was working through during the time we were working on employment and hiring her. So that's 3 days of the week she would be arriving a half an hour late in order to be able to facilitate those responsibilities, and therefore those days she would stay 30 minutes later at the end to compensate.
Jason, can we just confirm the time? Russ, we had a question on number 2.
Yeah, so it says, it begins by 7:45 a.m., which is 30 minutes later than the 7:15 contractual time. But workday ends 30 minutes later than contractual end of workday, 1:55. Is 1:55 the current end of the workday, or is that with the 30 minutes?
That's the current, and then
Okay.
it would be 30 minutes after that.
So
you
we should be
probably
clear on the MOA.
Yes.
put 2:25.
Yep.
Just like you did in the beginning of that, it
Yep.
probably should read the same way, just to be clear.
I have a question. Is there another nurse on site during that time, or is she the only nurse that's employed at Arms?
She's the only nurse employed at Arms, so otherwise we would have to rely, if there are any needs medically for anyone's health, we would be referring to ACEs or whoever's nearby.
How big of a risk are you assuming with that? Like, I don't know, I'm just concerned that there's gonna be a period of time where there's no nurse available on a regular basis.
So we've contacted the families of any students with immediate needs to let them know about that arrangement, and so that is something that the nurse has been able to work on with the families so that they're comfortable with that.
Is this just for the end of the school year, or is this moving forward for?
My understanding is it would be moving forward. I mean,
Currently moving forward into this next school year as well.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? One, two, three. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Amend the motion for 2B to add in the end time for her day to 2:25 PM.
Okay. There's a motion for an amendment to correct that time from 1:55 to 2:25. Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the amendment? All right. Now, is
Thank
there any
you.
further discussion on the motion as amended? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. All right. So, do we want to make a clean copy so I can, or,
Yes.
Yeah, Jody will take care of
okay,
the cleaning
yeah,
up.
Well, yeah, I'll have Carrie edit it.
okay,
And then we can,
all right,
I'll get the new copy to you.
okay.
And Jody will reach out when things
Yep.
are ready.
Yep. Okay. The next one is memorandum of agreement by and between the district and the association. And this one is the establishing a new club at Athol High School called the Kindness Team. This club will be open to all students, grade 9 through 12, and the club will have 2 advisors, which will be receiving a $400 stipend per year.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? Okay. And just so, so before we go on to the next one, I should have done this earlier, but I certainly wanted to thank Tammy for her years of leadership on the committee, and I also want to recognize Royalston's new member, Chris Devino. Okay. Chris stepped up under his own power, wasn't coerced, wasn't strong-armed, recognized the fact that there was no candidate, so, we thank you for that, Chris. Okay. Next one's memorandum of agreement, Arms Code Club. And that is to form a new club at Arms Coding Club. The club will be open to all students, grades 5 through 8, 1 advisor with an $800 stipend. Is there a motion? Okay, is there a second? Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. All right. The next one is a donation for the National Junior Honor Society. They'd like to donate items to Arms, which would be a TV, a bracket, a Chromebox, that the NJHS would pay for, and like to set it up in the cafeterias so students can see announcements, pictures, info, et cetera, while they eat, because this better serves the students, because not everybody hears the morning announcements. Is there a motion to accept the donation? Frank? Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the Duperre Law Office contract. And this is pretty much the, this is pretty much the standard contract that I'm used to seeing and has have been seeing for a while from Dupre, but Matt will highlight the changes.
Yeah, so there is one major change, and that is number 6. Currently, Duperre, for the many years they've been serving the district, has not charged the district any additional money when we've entered into a Board of Special Education appeal process, which is essentially like a hearing. And that takes place, it could take months. The preparation is hours and hours and hours upon document preparation, and a lot of work with Christy Fontaine, our Pupil Services Director. So they've, through the course of this year and going through a BSEA appeal with us, they've come to the realization that that was not in our contract, and this is money well-earned for when they're doing that work, and it's definitely above and beyond the traditional guidance at the school committee meetings and advisory. This is solid, straight work like they're taking on a case. So that was added in number 6.
Just so you know, the term of this retainer agreement is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026. And the actual the retainer amount is $5,250 per month, in addition to what Matt spoke about. So, is there a motion? Tammy? Okay. Is there a second? Frank? Okay, go ahead, Tammy.
Just a question. When we look at $250 an hour, how many hours would we say one case is, and how many cases are we looking at? I'm just looking for a ballpark figure, where that puts our district, understanding we have a complex special education district.
Christy? I can answer for Christy, but I want to make sure that I turn to my expert in the area. However, I think it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
You can get one BSEA case in 4 years. You could get 2 in 1 year or more.
I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and this is my second BSEA hearing in all that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, and it's dependent on the number of hours and the facts of the case.
So my bad, a lot longer than 4 years you can go.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
I will say, to your question, it's a good thing this wasn't in this year's contract.
Eric, can you grab Russell? Not that I expect a need, but, continuing down, the 25-26 school committee meeting schedule is in your packet, and we usually do vote on that, so I'll entertain a motion for approval. Okay. 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 Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Tammy?
Just a quick discussion. Jody had let me know about a week or two ago that the July 16th meeting, Matt is away. He's at a conference in Cape Cod and will not be able to attend. Last year, we just canceled the July meeting, which I think happened to be nice for everybody on the committee. And if we could potentially vote to cancel the July meeting and give everybody the month off, that'd be great.
Motion to amend the
Okay.
calendar with
Is-
taking July out.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Vote and vote first on the amendment. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So now we'll go back and vote on the school committee meeting schedule as amended. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed? Nobody. Okay. Thank you. And the 25-26 district academic school year calendar.
Yes. So, do you want me to speak to it a bit first? Or
If you want to, no, go ahead. That's fine.
So this calendar looks a little different. The union and administration have been working together and discussing what potential options there might be for reorganizing the calendar. One of the main differences is we're thinking about moving all of our full-day professional development to the beginning of the year. Having full-day professional development sporadically through the course of the year sometimes isn't aligned with the needs of the district. To be clear, for professional development this year, I can say there are 3 pieces of work that we are looking to be moving forward in this district. We're going to be partnering with Dr. Ross Green. He's the author of The Explosive Child and a number of books, Lost at School, and he practices CPS, which is called the Collaborative Problem-Solving Process. It's a strategy that all of the teachers will be instructed and coached on through the course of the year. But what we would like to do is front load that full day so that everyone can get at least the overview of the program and the process before we embark on going through it for the remainder of the year. And then others will be trained as experts to help facilitate the work that's moving forward. The other piece that we're going to be doing is looking at, there's a rubric that we're using and a protocol for looking at lessons, right? And identifying whether or not lessons are appropriately addressing the standards and addressing them at the appropriate level of rigor. And we want to make sure that all of our staff are familiar with the protocol and make sure that we get that work moving. The last piece is data cycles. Our coaches have been hard at work this past year with focus schools and their principals, getting deeper and deeper into using the data to drive instruction and how exactly to do that. And this coming year, the thought was we'd like to put together some professional development for all staff on the data cycle and then the process that we're using. And then for the half days that are moving forward throughout the course of the year, those will be opportunities for the staff to be reconvening and working on those 3 focus areas. So we'd like to get all the upfront PD, the general trainings out of the way. And quite candidly, this will also give us a little more time and flexibility in the beginning of the year to let the teachers get settled in, right? We come in, we have 2 days of professional development. There's the mandatory staff meeting, there's mandatory trainings, there's professional development, you set up your classroom, and then the next day the kids come in, and it is a whirlwind. By putting these 4 up front, we can give the right information to start the year, and we could do it in a palatable way so that they're not drinking from a fire hose just walking in, and then we can follow up through the course of the year with those half PD days. And quite frankly, the work that I'm speaking of is not just happening at the PD days. So when I say we'll follow up at the half days, that work's going to be going on in CPTs, common planning time for teachers. It'll be going on in instructional leadership team meetings and other forums. But those half PD days give the schools the opportunity for everyone to come together at once and be working on the same thing and then be cross-pollinating with either different grades or different content areas. It just provides the opportunity to really dig deeper into the work when everyone can get into it together. So that is the plan, and that is why we laid this calendar out the way that we did.
Is that why the half days change the day of the week? Does it have to do with like a particular for training? Because like I see in October it's a Wednesday. In November I think it's supposed to be that Monday. I think the symbols are just wrong. But then in December it's a Wednesday. It's a Thursday in May.
We do know, no, I'm sorry.
Tuesday in March. Like, I just know that
Mhm.
from a
Do you-
parent side, it can be really difficult to remember half days and stuff, especially if it's not consistent like that. Like when you know you have there's
I think
one
this year it
Wednesday a
was
month
all
that's gonna be a
Wednesdays, which
half
is
day, like you can, it's a little bit more predictable.
So truthfully, I was less directly involved in those conversations about the placement of the half-days. I'm not sure. Is Carrie here? I know, Carrie,
Yeah.
did you have any other insight on the placement of the half-days?
Yeah, so we did that intentionally because the request came from staff that when we always had the half-days on the same day, the same kids were missing certain classes or certain blocks or certain periods all the time. And some schools adjust for that in shortened blocks, but other schools don't adjust the same way. So the request was made that we alternate periodically the days that were half days so that different subjects wouldn't always be suffering the loss of a class period. So that's why we laid it out that way.
Thank you very much, Carrie.
And then November the 10th is a half day, right?
No, that's Veterans Day.
Oh, okay. 'Cause never mind. Okay. No, I'm sorry. What was I looking at? I don't know. And then we're all just like, we really like that half day, the week of Thanksgiving. We love that. Am I the only one that hates it? Yeah, it's just so difficult as a working parent to have 3 half days in a row.
One correction that I see, November 11th is actually Veterans Day.
So those half-days, though, for Thanksgiving are contractual now. They were built into the contract when we were redesigning the meeting schedules. So we can't change those 2 days. We could potentially vote to not make the day prior to Thanksgiving a half-day, but actually, I'm not even sure, that may be in the contract also. I'd have to double check. Sorry.
Before I get too far behind myself, can we get a motion? Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the calendar as presented for now.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. And continue the discussion if you'd like to.
Eric mentioned
Yeah, I let Jody know.
Who seconded the motion? I'm sorry.
Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Yep.
I apologize. What did Eric mention?
November 10th is actually, should be November 11th.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay? All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Yes, go ahead.
Monday, the 10th is not the day off. It is Tuesday, the 11th, correct? Okay, all right.
Eric, I have the calendar in front of me.
The motion would need to be amended to, yeah.
Yes.
Second.
The motion to amend involves the Veterans Day date actually being November 11th. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment? Okay. Now going back to the motion as amended for approval of the calendar. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? Nobody. Are you abstaining, Eric, or you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving along, under communications, you have the normal district enrollment sheet in your packet. And also the updated DG Networks technology update, which I believe at the last one we were just, you have it. If you have any questions, you would bring them forward to administration. Yeah.
Anthony is our lead in the building, but Dan Saltzman, who runs the company, Dan and Anthony work together. If anyone ever has any questions or thoughts on technology, please send them either directly to Anthony and Dan or send them to me, and I will certainly relay and make sure that we get the answers.
Okay. All right. Under communications, there's something for MSBA update. Is there actually anything for?
So we did decide to put an MSBA update on to the agenda as a standing item. As of right now, there's not a tremendous amount of information that has changed. Our invitation date is May 1st, and currently, through conversations with the PR subcommittee, myself, TJ, Dave King, we've been putting together, Frank, again, our subcommittees and some of our administrators have been working on putting together question and answer sheet for important information to present to the community. And our first thought is that we may start just trying to put together some information and put it into a Bears Den episode, and then start pretty soon thereafter with our major campaign. But we'll discuss that further with PR sub and then move from there.
Okay. And financial statements and approval of accounts, I think we already took care of the votes needed for the budget public hearing. At this time, I would like to make a public disclosure. I'm going to turn the next vote over to the vice chair, because I do currently receive my benefits through the district through my spouse, but I am in the process of leaving the district insurance and going over to my company's insurance, just so that there's no future issues. Tammy?
So we would need a vote on the health insurance opt-out incentive, which is located in your packet. To review for the public, it looks as though we have 6 different tiers of potential incentive payouts to various employees in the district. The payout is based on your plan type and coverage. Is there a motion so we can discuss?
So moved as presented.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded. Okay, so is there any questions about what the incentive payout is or who's qualifying for it? No? Nancy, do you want to talk a little bit about that? My company personally does it, so I'm excited to see this option for people who don't use our insurance, who can opt out, so that's great. So do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So we thought we would try to introduce this and get this voted on as a pilot program for opt-out incentive. So as I've mentioned many times, the health insurance right now has increased dramatically. And that between the contribution change has been almost an 80% increase per pay period for the employees. So due to that, we're introducing this for 2 reasons. One, for the potential cost of the employee, so if they at least can get a little bit of something if they have an option to go on someone else's health insurance. Another one is for the district cost, because it is a savings to the district. So we thought we'd share a little bit of that with the employee. There's a couple of criteria we put in with it. One would be that it's available to active employees who are currently enrolled in the district's health insurance as of our open enrollment date of April 28th. The next is the employees may elect to opt out during our open enrollment period, which is April 28th through May 23rd. Payments are going to be made in 2 installments, and the employee must be actively employed by the district at the time of each payout to receive that installment. And lastly, we thought we would add in that if an employee has to re-enroll due to a qualifying life event, the employee shall reimburse the district for the prorated amount for any incentive payments that they have already received. And the incentive payout is based upon, the tiers of each program, and then by individual or family. Yeah.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? Okay. Abstentions? 1, 2. Anybody? Is there abstention? Okay. Yep. Did you get all that, Jody? Are you okay? And Lee. Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Nancy, do you have anything for FY25 review?
Really quick, just
Okay.
in your packet, you'll find year-to-date expenses and revenue sources that are received year-to-date. I really don't have many other up-to notes on the year-to-date expenses at this point in time. Right now, all our lines have been encumbered and forecasted out. It looks like, hopefully, we'll come in right where the budget is, as long as we don't have any big surprises coming our way with the expenses. And I'll leave it at that for right now. Unless anybody has any questions.
reports of the committee? I do not have any this year, this evening. Moving on to Budget Finance Subcommittee, you've already heard the presentation, so I feel we're good there. Facilities.
We did meet this evening. Things are going okay as far as getting things cleaned up and fixed around the district. So that's about it.
Okay. Academic excellence. Okay. Public relations.
When we last met, we just talked a little bit about how things are going with the vision of the graduate. And at this point, at the last meeting, we had not heard the compilation yet of all the surveys that had been done and everything.
So I can throw in an update. Just
Yeah.
recently, I went to the steering committee meeting, which was, I don't remember if it was earlier this week or last week. My days just blend. But it was a really great opportunity at that steering committee meeting. Dave, was it this week? What? Monday. It was Monday. Thank you. It feels like a year ago. But on Monday, we had our steering committee gather, and we did get into the data that was collected from the surveys and also from the focus groups. And we started disaggregating the data and trying to identify, like, just in the basics before we get into wordsmithing, but what are the real big picture pieces that the community and our students are suggesting they need to have, those skill sets, essential knowledge, and characteristics. So the work is moving along really nicely, and I think there's a subgroup that has recently gotten together, and they're going to start trying to fine-tune the specifics even more so, and then we're going to come back to our next steering committee meeting and start wordsmithing for the first part of the project. So for the entire committee, I just want to remind, this first part of the project will end up with our vision of a graduate, which is our front-facing information for what we expect to see when these kids cross the stage. A lot of times, like, that's the visual. It's supposed to be appealing and make sense, like, and be clear. But people read it and then think there's no meat to the work. It's not just a one-page document. The vision of a graduate, after the development of the vision, that's when the work gets deeper, because we go school by school and we work with the staff to identify how each school is working to get to those skills and characteristics that we've identified for our vision of a graduate. And quite candidly, I intend to make our vision of a graduate the North Star of our next strategic plan. So it's a tremendous amount of work. It's really important for our students here, and it's going well, and it's a great thing. Sorry, that was a lot for a little update.
Policy.
I think I can speak on this. We have a third read for policy BEDH, public participation at school committee meetings.
Is there a motion for the third reading? Frank? Second? Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay. All right. Committee member referrals. Tammy, we'll start with you.
Yes, if we could ask to put this BEDH at the table so everyone can read it going forward, so we just laminate a copy or whatever until it changes. That way, people who do come for public comment can understand what the committee is expecting. That would be one item.
That's an excellent idea.
And then Lee and I talked a little bit, but regional agreement really needs to be updated, so I would refer us to look at the regional agreement and move forward with some changes, because some of the schools are outdated in the regional agreement. We didn't do a negotiations update, but Matt is working.
sorry.
That's okay, it wasn't on the list,
Oh,
but
okay.
you did miss it. The cafeteria's workers contract is in progress, Matt, and I'm assuming it's going well?
We did start conversations. Nancy has scheduled some meetings with Carolyn so that they could go through the finances together. And I had my first meeting, Nancy and I had our first meeting today with the managers and assistant managers. And it went it went splendidly. But
And then the only other thing I have this evening would be to ask to form a small subcommittee for the superintendent's standards and to set his goals, because he doesn't currently have any. And I put together a document as chair that outlined what we thought as a committee he should be focusing on. And I really appreciated you outlining those 3 goals that you said for the professional development. So somehow work those 3 into that together and come up with a superintendent standard so we can actually evaluate Matt. And that was it for this tonight. Thanks.
Frank?
I'd just like to, budget constraints that we have now, some of our facilities, issues that we have. I'm just concerned with some of the, sidewalk issues that simple sidewalk issues that we have. Might be worth investing in if we can find some money here and there, because I think it would be a little bit cheaper than one incident happening, and that's all.
Christie?
I just wanted to mention that at ACES, we were getting ready to do, the PTO is going to do a readathon in the next month. So we're working on all of that and are just excited to get the word out.
Okay. Emily?
I would just like to thank Tammy for her couple of years on the chair. You were great, thank you.
It's been, I just will say, it's been awesome to be the chair. I've learned so much. I think everyone should have to sit in that chair. It is not easy. It is a numerous amount of hours. You learn a lot. You dedicate your time for the kids, and I think that focus. And my goal was to have more families on the committee, and I cannot believe how different we look today than we did 6 years ago. So thank you to all the families and people who volunteer their time here. It's really making a difference.
Laura?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. I have nothing other than I should welcome back Tammy and Laura as well, so. Kylie? Nope. Chris, I know you're new, so. Okay. Bobby?
I have to, I want to thank you also, Tammy. Thank you for your services that you have given to this district. You gave a lot of hours, and I appreciate it. The other thing I have is that we had received a television for the students in the cafeteria. Can we please send them a thank you for that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All set, Bobby?
Yes, thank you.
Eric?
I just also want to thank Tammy for the good job and the hard work. That's it.
Okay, that completes our agenda for this evening, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Take your time, Bobby. Take your time. Is there a sec, Frank? Okay. We don't normally look for discussion on that motion, so all in favor? Okay, thank you very much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Back in the
Thank you.
seat.
Yeah.